Someone in the audience had asked, and I've gone through a question for each of you, and so we'll just talk about this for a moment. How do you stand on Measure D? It's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, D means dividing up Wildomar into separate districts where a representative is elected from each district as opposed to being elected citywide. And so I'd like to hear some thoughts. Was that a fair representation of that? I'd like to hear some thoughts on that. Bridget, let's begin with you.
Right, I will be voting at large on Measure D. I feel the Wildomar City Council should represent all of Wildomar and not the City Council candidate, City Council member representing just their district, and then therefore each person is fighting for just their district. We have had some infighting with the current annexations attempts, and we now need to be unified, and the Wildomar City Council needs to fight for all of Wildomar, and I will be voting at large on Measure D.
Measure D come up on this particular ballot on the
Yes.
Yes. All right, then this is important right now. Okay, Tim.
Measure D does come up, but the first initial city council will be at large. It'll be for the future city council. And just to add to that, I will be voting for at large.
People, we might as well all just get together and make Wildomar a great city.
All right, someone else. I'm sorry, I told you Darrell next.
I agree with Bob Cashman in that we're not large enough. The city of San Diego is divided up into districts for obvious reasons. It's a very, very large city. Moreover, we need a council from the very beginning that works together. And that's, by voting at large, that will happen.
Steve?
I agree by district. Let's look at the Elsinore Water.
I'm sorry. You said you agree. Are you in favor of D having districts?
I'm in favor of by district. I'm the only one on the panel that does it.
Okay.
I believe by district.
Come on, that was funny.
And I'll give you an instance. The Elsinore Water District, who I voted for, John Lloyd, is in my district. Had it been at large, he wouldn't have most likely been elected, because the Nevada Water and Power would have picked their 5 candidates to push the LEAF project. So now we have a voice which is against the LEAF project. So if it had been at large, chances are John Lloyd wouldn't have been.
It's okay. Roger?
Yes, I favor at large, but I also favor a council of 7.
Okay. Marcia?
I favor at large. The Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District is not comparable to us. It's a huge district. It doesn't just take in Wildomar, it takes in Lake Elsinore, Marietta, and parts unknown all around. I want this council, especially the first council and the ones to work together and not say, I'm taking care of my backyard.
Okay. Steve, hang on just a second. I do want to give you an opportunity in case I miss anyone who is against it being in districts and for at large. So let me ask it this way. How many of you that are running are for it being at large? You're in favor of that. Okay, Steve, you were accurate, so I want to give you another 30 seconds to tell me why.
I also believe that by district is a biblical principle. When you look at when the Israelites were in the desert, God commanded Moses and Aaron to divide them up into districts so that they wouldn't be overburdened. And then we also have the 12 tribes. We're all cohesive, but we all, I believe it's a biblical principle.
Pastor Ron.
I'm a moderator, I'll stay out.
Pastor Ron, down here.
Yes.
Just on the WCC, on our stance is that we're large on that. That's a vote yes on at large. And the reason for that is 5 square miles. Okay? We're not as large as Riverside City. We're not as large as San Diego City. It's a span of control. 25 miles is square miles can be handled at large without splitting it down into districts. You start splitting it down into districts, then you're going to cause yourself, at this point, you're going to run into some problems.
All right, we've reached the end of our time. I've gone through the questions that we have there. Really, if you could tell me what your passion is for the city. I think I'm wanting to know, what do you want it to look like in 10 years? What do you want Wildomar to look the same? What are your thoughts on what the vision ought to be? We've started down here. Cheryl, why don't we go ahead And start with you down there.
Well, the vision that I've heard, and it's not concrete, but is people want to retain their lifestyle. Land Development Review, we did an introduction to visioning. I think we should do a visioning process as a city council where we come to a consensus as a community on what we will see in Wildomar in the future. That creates a foundation for developers to build on, because then they know what you guys want and they can go along with it. It's when they don't know what a community wants that we get patchwork.
Okay.
That's a passion of mine.
Scott?
I agree. I believe that we will need to bring the community together and see what the community wants. I do hear that everybody wants to maintain the rural atmosphere. I came here in '92 looking for affordable horse property. That's why I moved here. I love the rural community, but we can't turn into Norco either. This community struggled, and they were doing everything they can, to go out there and find the revenue so that they can succeed. So we have to be smart about it.
Thank you. Bob?
Well, I don't want it to be a big city. I don't really think that Wildomar will be best served by being turned into an economic powerhouse that everyone says, hey, look at that great city hall. I want it to have a small town atmosphere and to actually preserve some of the vistas, the scenery that we have, natural habitat, and allow for people to keep different lifestyles.
Thank you. Mark?
Over a year ago, one of the most dedicated volunteers to this community, a man named Peter Van de Bovenkamp, who was a good friend of mine, was killed riding his bicycle on a county road. And it just bothers me intensely that the county road standard is 12-foot wide roadways, when a little bit wider would have been safer and maybe saved Peter's life. And that's one of my top priorities, is to make better roads.
I believe that cities are always antagonistic against churches, especially we'll bring up 3 instances in Temecula where Rancho community had to fight for their tax exempt status. We have in Elsinore where they moved it all the way up to the course to the Supreme Court to move on Main Street, and then we have our friends here off of the Mountain View off of Baxter.
Go ahead.
In the words of Ronald Reagan, he said the most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Marcia?
Those were good words. The vision of the community is family. I've been here a long time. There are 5 generations of my family here. And when I thought about Wildomar becoming a city and heard, Marietta wanted this part and Lake Elsinore wanted this part and nobody wanted this other part, we're a family. I don't want a divorce. I want us all to stay together. I want us to stay strong, and I think I can bring that to the community.
Thank you. Tim?
As a community for Wildomar, and looking into 10 years, I see a community, I would like to see a community of, like Marcia said, a family, where everybody gets together, a community center or a gathering place where we can have a street fair and everybody in the community can get together. As far as what's going to happen in Wildomar, I feel that's up to you, the residents of Wildomar, and as a city council candidate, I'll be here to listen to you. Thank you.
Bridget?
I do have a passion for Wildomar to be the best city, and that's because we deserve it. I do agree with Harv on the bicycle roads, because we do have that. We also have another little boy that also was killed riding a bicycle, and we are planning a bicycle safety day for your parents out there on May 10th. But we do deserve to have Wildomar be the best city we can be.
And Roger?
Yes, my vision is something like San Francisco, only better. It'll send representatives down here to study how we do it. Intelligent rent controls, legal exchange, looking after the poor, the homeless, and the helpless, and the infirm, the people that are disenfranchised by 1,000 different reasons, that we be known as a community of heart, and demonstrated with the pocketbook, with government charity.
Daryl?
Most of us moved here for the simple reason we wanted to get out of the type of environment that we lived in surrounding counties. We have that opportunity. Let's keep it rural.